On the Corker bill, I understand the bill that passed unanimously out of the Foreign Relations Committee is one the President would sign, correct?
Yes, in the form in which it passed.
In the form in which it passed.
All right. Welcome to Gimme 5. Here we go. Josh Earnest of the White House spokesman, of course, being asked a question by Jonathan Karl of ABC News about the Corker bill. The bill that Obama capitulated to. I surrender. Okay, Congress, you could have a say. Well, it's not that cut and dry, apparently, and hopefully, because I think it's a lousy bill, as we discussed with Andrew Bostom yesterday. So, here's the question from Karl to Earnest.
And I also understand the Republicans who control the Senate now are very much into an open amendment process, and it's a virtual certitude that an amendment to stipulate that the administration would have to certify that Iran is not supporting terrorism against Americans will almost certainly be added, be presented and would be added back onto this bill. If that were to happen, do we go back to where we were, which is a presidential veto?
Yes.
Yes, because we can't include in a bill, in a deal with Iran, that they won't support terrorism against Americans. That's unheard of. Why can't they support terrorism against Americans? You believe this? More.
There is an agreement that was reached, a strong bipartisan compromise in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee that the President has indicated he'd be willing to sign. But if there is an attempt, and it succeeds, to undermine that compromise and returning it to either a blatantly partisan vehicle or a blatant attempt to undermine diplomacy, the President would absolutely veto that bill.
Oh, of course. We can't hold Iran accountable. They want to kill Americans through terrorist acts. What can we do about it? and Jonathan Karl basically says what?
It would be a tough argument to make that you would be vetoing simply a provision that would certify that the Iranians were not supporting terrorism against Americans. You really want to
not particularly
make that?
Yeah. Not particularly. And let me explain to you why. The first is that we know that Iran, for at least a generation, has been very active in supporting elements of terror around the globe. That is why they are on that now shorter list of state sponsors of terror. And that is a designation that this administration takes very seriously. And there are a whole host of sanctions and other ways that we have made clear to the Iranians that we have concerns about the way that they sponsor terrorism around the globe. What we have also been clear about is that we do not anticipate that these nuclear negotiations are going to resolve our concerns about their support for terror.
No, we're going to ease their sanctions. We're going to let their economy flourish. We're going to let them have centrifuges. We're going to be their friends. But we don't pretend to make believe that this is going to stop them from being a terrorist nation or killing Americans. Why should we? My God, what are we listening to? What has happened to our country? One more.
It is highly likely that Iran will continue to be supportive of some terror elements, even if they are able to successfully enter and complete these negotiations about their nuclear program. Now, what's finally is also true is that our need to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon is made all the more important because we know they support terrorism. That Iran's support for terrorism would be even more dangerous if we were dealing with a nuclear-armed Iran. That's what makes the stakes for these negotiations so high, and that's why we wouldn't want to see a politically motivated attempt to undermine these serious negotiations.
So that's how you define an amendment to a bill about an Iran deal, which would say that this deal is void if Iran is caught perpetrating terror against Americans. And of course, the president has already said that requiring Iran to recognize Israel's right to exist, that's no good either. So Iran can keep doing whatever the heck it wants. Terror, destroy Israel, bomb Israel, Hezbollah, Hamas, you name it, take over Yemen, take over Iraq. As long as they sign this little nuclear deal, Obama's going to go, mwah, sick.